Good morning children, welcome back to our channel Sangu Home Classes. Today let us know about the typical cell. So what is a typical cell in plant and animal? See, look at these figures. There is two types of cells are there. One is belongs to plant cell and another one is animal cell. So in the plant cell we can observe some internal figures. Here also we can observe some internal figures. See, if we observe both, there is some differences will be there. So what are those differences and what are the similarities between the two cells? Let us know in this video now. Yes. See, here there is a plant cell which is having the outermost covering that is called a cell wall. Why does the cell wall is present only in the plant cell? Because to protect themselves. Okay, so animal cell does not have any cell wall. So there is one information we have to know that. So plants are also living organisms, but they cannot move from one place to another place. They cannot able to fight against the other organisms. So that's why if they get any difficulty from the outer external environment, so it will protect by the cell wall itself. Okay, so cell wall is a protecting layer which is protecting the inside cell organelles which are present inside the cell membrane. See how it is protected. Now see one example. So if you take one solution, that is hypertonic solution. So what is it contains? The hypertonic solution contains 10 mg of salt and 100 ml of water. It means the water quantity is high and the solute, that is salt concentration is very low. So which we are taking as a mixture or solution in the beaker. So this solution is called hypertonic solution. When we keep the plant cell or a sample of sap of the cell sap, so if we keep it into this hypertonic solution, so after some time what will happen? So based on the process, that is osmosis. Osmosis means what? So osmosis in the sense lower concentration to higher concentration. So the water will be moved from lower concentration to higher concentration itself. So the cells does not have high concentration. So inside the cell there is water molecules and also nutrients are present in the cytoplasm. So these cytoplasm will send the water molecules outside. So if we keep a cell, a plant cell, so here is a cell wall. See, if we keep a plant cell for some time in a hypertonic solution, so the water molecules will be come through the plasma membrane from inside to outside. So by this process, the cell wall is separated from the cell membrane. So this cell membrane will be shrinked. The cell membrane will be shrinks. So by shrinking, why it is shrinking? Water molecules, the quantity of water is decreased inside the cell. The water molecules are moving from lower concentration to higher concentration. Lower environment to outer, internal environment to external environment. So because of that, the cell membrane will shrink along with the cytoplasm. So by this process, the cell wall will be separated and also the cell membrane will be separated. There will be a gap, a long gap will be formed in between these two both membranes. Okay. So in the case of animal cell, there is a cell membrane is present. So the cell membrane only the protecting layer of internal cell organelles in animals. Why? Because these cells does not contain any protecting layer outside the cell membrane, means the human beings or animals which are containing the only cell membrane around their cells, so they are able to protect themselves by moving or by going away from the enemies, away from the animals which are attacking them. If in case of plants, the plants are not able to go away, they cannot move from one place to another place. It means what? They cannot show the locomotion. So because they cannot showing the locomotion, the plants, if somebody is coming to hit the plants can protect themselves by its covering layer, that is nothing but cell wall. So that is about the cell wall and why it is present in the plant cell and why not in the animal cell itself. Now, what are the important differences and also similarities in between the cells? These both cells. See, here is information we have. So, plant cell is having cell wall and it contains the chloroplast and it also contains a very big vacuole. In case of animal cells, so the cell wall is absent and the plastids are also absent and the vacuole is also very small in structure. So if you observe here, see here, this is an animal cell which contains all the cell organelles but not cell membrane, but not plastids and also but not any cell wall. So and also vacuole is also very small, so that's why we are not denoting here. And here is a plant cell, it contains a big vacuole and also some plastids. So here is a chloroplast which is in green color and also it contains the cell wall. So cell wall is a main different in between the plant cell and the animal cells. So after this, we should know about what are the similarities between the plant cell and animal cell. Here there is a similarities. So both cells are containing cell membrane and both cells are containing endoplasmic reticulum, both cells containing Golgi apparatus and lysosomes, nucleus, mitochondria, cytoplasm and also ribosomes. So these are all the internal structures of the cell. So all these internal structures are called as cell organelles. What are these? All are cell organelles, or we may call it as cell organelles. So these are the cell organelles are present in the inside the cell. See my dear students, if you have a textbook, look at page number 2 in your biology textbook. Here there is a activity is done by the scientists. So here they taken the methylene stains so to identify the shrinking cell which contains the cell wall. Here is the Rio leaf peel they taken along with their cell wall. They observed when they keep inside the hypertonic solution and when they keep here. So this is the thick pink color structures. Those are called cell along with the cell membrane itself. And the gaps are called, there is a gap between the cell membrane. So this is one cell and this is another cell. So in between these two cells there is a gap. So in between the gaps there will be a cell membrane also. So the cell membrane is not denoted properly here, but the shrinked cell we are looking here. Okay, yes, this is the observation we have to know about the cell when we keep into the hypertonic solution. So it will be looks like this when we observe under the microscope itself. However, we can observe the structure of cell membrane only through an electron microscope. అంటే ఏంటండి, జస్ట్ మనం ఈ స్ట్రక్చర్స్ అన్నింటినీ కూడా అంటే ఇంటర్నల్ సెల్ ఈజ్ అ వెరీ మైన్యూట్ స్ట్రక్చర్ అండ్ inside the cell if you want to observe the cell organelles, so we should use the electronic microscope. So with the help of compound microscope we cannot able to see the figures. So what are there and what is their structures and what are their shapes, sizes, etc. and etc. So you cannot see through that compound microscope. We should use only the electron microscope. See here, cell membrane is flexible and made up of mainly lipids and proteins. See here, so the cell membrane which is formed around the cell, so that is made up of lipids and proteins. These are what is called lipids and proteins. So these are chemical substances which can made a membrane. Okay, see, the cell membrane is the outermost layer of the cell that separates cytoplasm from the external environment. So the cell membrane is the outermost layer in the cell, not in plant cell, whereas in animal cell outermost layer is nothing but that is cell membrane only. So that's why we are calling it as a plasma membrane. So the cell membrane defines the shape and the size of the cell and encloses the cytoplasm and protects it from the external environment. So this plasma membrane is participate in a vital role by separating the external environment and also internal environment of a cell. So this one will be protects in the animal cell. So the cell membrane only participate in the protection and also separation. Okay, yes, the internal environment of the cell is different from that of outside. So inside a cell one finds a very specific composition of various substances which maintain a balance. The cell membrane plays a crucial role. Crucial means nothing but an important role in maintaining this balance. So for example, there will here, see, look at these pictures. So these are some cells are there. This is one cell, this is one cell, this is one cell, and this is one more cell. So in between the cells, there will be gaps are there. So these gaps means this gap is a external environment to this cell. This gap is a external environment for this cell. So in the same way, all the cells are having the internal and also external environment. So the internal and external environments will be balanced, will be equilibrium. Otherwise, the concentration of the solution between the external and internal environment, if it is high and low means, so there will be the solvent is moving inside and sometimes it will be moves outside through the plasma membrane. So then it leads to shrinken the cells and sometimes leads to burst the cell. For example, if you are keeping the cells into the hypertonic solution, the cell membrane and also along with the cytoplasm, it will be shrinked. So if we keep in the same cell, we keep it in another beaker which is containing only the water. So water means at the normal water means it does not contain any concentration. So if we keep a cell, for example, so the cell contains high concentration, the water is a low concentration. So in this beaker the water will be, based on the process of osmosis, it will move from outside to inside of the cell. So all the water molecules will be entered into the cell. So the cell becomes very large and after it leads to burst the cell. Is it right? So the cell will be burst means opens and it will be collapsed. So it leads to the death of the plant sometimes. So that's why the balance should be there in between the cells, or external and internal environment should be always in a equilibrium, balanced. Okay, and then one more characteristic is we are going to discuss about the cell membrane, that is any substance entering or leaving the cell can do so only through this membrane. సో ఏదైనా సరే ఒక పదార్థము సెల్ లోపలికి వెళ్ళాలన్నా సెల్లో నుండి బయటకి రావాలన్నా, ఇఫ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ వాంట్ టు గో ఇన్సైడ్ ఆర్ ఇఫ్ ఇట్ వాంట్ టు కమ్ అవుట్ సైడ్, సో it will be allowed only by the cell membrane or plasma membrane. So this membrane allows the material which needs by the cell, it will be entered inside, which does not needed, if it is unuseful substance, it will be sent outside through the membrane. So the uniqueness of this membrane lies in the fact that does not allow every substance to pass through it. సో అలా అని ప్రతి పదార్థాన్ని లోపలికి రానివ్వదు, అలా అని ప్రతి పదార్థాన్ని బయటకి పంపించదన్నమాట. సో ద ఎక్స్చేంజ్ ఆఫ్ సబ్స్టాన్సెస్ త్రూ ద సెల్ మెంబ్రెయిన్ హ్యాపెన్స్ వెరీ సెలెక్టివ్లీ. వై ఇట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ వెరీ సెలెక్టివ్లీ మీన్స్, సో in the chapter plasma membrane, it will become after some lessons, so you will know about the plasma membrane and also its function. So plasma membrane is having 3 characteristics. So in that, one of the character they mentioned here, that is a selectively permeable membrane. So actually the plasma membrane contains permeability, semi-permeability and also selectively permeability. So based on these characters, permeability means it will allow some of the material inside it. Semi-permeability means only some of them which are selected, so those will be entered into the cell by plasma membrane. And sometimes the plasma membrane will select only some things. For example, there will be number of gases are present in the air. So the composition of air is, it contains number of gases, but when it reaches the lungs, so at the alveoli level, the gases, however whatever it may be present in the air, it only absorb or allows oxygen inside, but not nitrogen, but not water vapor, but not any other gases present in the air. It will sense outside them. So in the same way, the carbon dioxide gas will be sent outside through the plasma membrane while respiration. So that's why the cell membrane is showing a characteristic, that is a selectively permeable membrane. These characteristics of the membrane enable it to control the exchange of substances between the cell and its external environment. So this we are going to learn in the next chapter, that is plasma membrane. So no need to discuss about now here, just we should know what is the characteristics of plasma membrane now. The next one is a cell wall. Already we know that cell wall is a outer covering layer present only in the plant cell. So here what should we know about the cell wall means, so cell wall is mainly made up of the cellulose. It is also one type of chemical. How the cell membrane is made up of lipids and proteins, in the same way cell wall is made up of cellulose. That's why the animals are having the cellulase enzyme to digest the cellulose, but we didn't have the cellulase enzyme in our body, it will not produce. That's why we won't eat the raw vegetables or raw leafy vegetables or whatever, just like a grass we cannot eat, and if we eat the grass we cannot digest it because the cellulase is absent in our body. So in the same way, the plants are having the cellulose in their cell wall. So outside the cell membrane, which is known as the cell wall, this is considered to be one of the major differences between the plant and animal cell. So plants and animal cells కి మధ్యలో మనము డిఫరెన్సెస్ చెప్పుకున్నాం కదండి. సో వాటి మధ్యలో మనకి ముఖ్యంగా మనం చెప్పుకునేది ఏంటి, సెల్ వాల్ ఈజ్ ద one of the main difference. Next one, the cell wall is a tough but flexible porous layer that lends a definite shape to the cell protection. So already we know that, so it will gives the protection to the cell. Earlier it was believed to be inactive. So earlier days లో ఈ సెల్స్ గురించి ఎవరైతే అబ్జర్వ్ చేశారో, ఎవరైతే రీసెర్చ్ చేశారో, వాళ్ళు ఫస్ట్గా ఏమనుకునే వాళ్ళంటే, సో ది థింక్ దట్ సో ఇట్ ఈజ్ ఎ ఇన్యాక్టివ్ substance, cell wall is a inactive substance, but after later they know about the cell wall is a flexible thing, and also it contains the porous means it contains the holes. So and also it lends a definite shape, it will give the definite shape to the cell. But now it is considered to be one of the most significant part of the cell that continuously exchanges information with the other cells during growth and development. సో సెల్స్ అనేవి ఒక ప్లాంట్ బాడీ అనేది పెరుగుతూ ఉన్నప్పుడు వైల్ ద ప్లాంట్ బాడీ ఈజ్ గ్రోయింగ్, సో అట్ ద టైమ్ ద ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ మీన్స్ నాట్ లైక్ speaking, okay, not like communication, okay. Information means here information in the sense the transformation of nutrients and also water molecule, or it may be in the form of gases. It will be transferred from one cell to another cell while the cells are dividing into two, or while the cells are participate in the division, while the cells are developing. So it will be happens. So next, what is the role of the cell wall in plant cell? So already we know that it will give protection, it will give the flexibility to the cells, and also it will be transfer the information in between the cells. So it is there's an inward and wall pressure to resist the outward pressure exerted by the cell sap. Hence the plant cells can withstand much greater changes surrounding and medium than the animal cell. See, for example, we can understand this paragraph by saying something. So if we are entered in a polar region, for example the animal, so which is living here normal conditions, if we make it and sends to the polar regions, the temperature will be decreased immediately. So immediately the organism will get sneezing and will get cold, cough, like that. So if we change the plant will not get these type of conditions, no, because this resistance power is getting by the cell wall, because the plants can withstand wherever it may be. So the plants can withstand in each and every surrounding medium. So wherever we will take the plant, okay, some of the plants will not survive, sometimes it will be die, not able to withstand in such a conditions, but in all the time it will not be happens in case of plants. But animals will be immediately, they will suffer when their surroundings or when their environment is changes, they will be suffer because of some conditions, but not happens in the plants because of the presence of cell wall. So that is the importance of cell wall. And then we will know about the remaining cell organelles in the next video. Okay, see you in the next video. Bye.